One, they have low self-esteem. You can find a person who can't talk in front of people. They are afraid of standing up for themselves. They can't stand up for their needs. They have a low self-esteem. Two, for example, you just give someone a compliment. Instead of taking a compliment the way it is, they overanalyze the compliment. For example, I can come and tell you, you are looking good. Instead of just taking the compliment that I've told you, you're looking good, you start overanalyzing that compliment. You start asking yourself, why has he only told me that I'm looking good today? Is he really telling me I'm looking good, or is he just making fun of me? You just don't take a compliment the way it is. Yeah, another symptom is, for example, you are in a competitive environment. For example, in a class, you can't you can't just you are afraid of being in an environment where people will where you are afraid of being in an environment where you can voice where you are forced to voice your
This
opinions
video,
because you are
we are going to talk about inferiority complex, and I have a guest who is a psychology student. She's going to share some tips with us on how to overcome inferiority complex. Please, can you present yourself?
hello, I'm Ebenezer Buyanzi. As you have said, I'm a psychology student.
Yeah, like today's people tend to compare themselves with one another, but the byproduct of that comparison is always anxiety, depression, and lack of self-confidence. And for you, according to you, what is inferiority complex?
An inferiority complex is a complex which encompasses feelings of inadequacy, where one feels inadequate. They feel less than they should feel about themselves. It's like having low self esteem. So someone feels like they're inadequate. They're always feeling like they're inadequate in every situation.
Like inferiority complex, let me, from your point of view, it means like you think you cannot make it and others are better than you.
Yes, you always feel inadequate and you view others as better than you. So you look down upon yourself.
Okay. And what are the causes of inferiority complex?
Inferiority complex can be caused by very many things, but I'm just going to talk about a few of them. The first thing that can cause an inferiority complex is childhood trauma. Like maybe something happened to you when you are a child, which affects which affected how you view yourself. It lowered your self-esteem. So it made you feel inadequate than you are. Maybe for a lady, you were raped. For a guy, you might have been sodomized. Or in some aspects where you know these situations where parents talk down on their children, like you are a cow, you cannot amount to anything in life. You know those repeated comments and things can affect how a person views themselves, leading to a feeling of inadequacy, especially when parents consistently tell their children they're less, like you cannot do well. A child fails in school, instead of encouraging them, you keep constantly telling them they're stupid, such things. Or childhood traumas, like I've said before. Another cause can be physical defects. For example, how you were made. Maybe you are lame, you are dumb, you are deaf, or you have a facial defect. Such things can cause one to have this feeling of inferiority. Other things can
Okay, let me take here. You means like the thoughts that our parents give to us has an impact in our life, affects our life. Like if your father is constantly telling you, you are useless, you are up to nothing, you can't do anything, you are very lazy, you are not intelligent. Like it means that thing stick to you, and it might enforce inferiority complex on you.
Yes, this someone who came up with a proverb and say, "What you eat is what you are." So, for example, you're constantly hearing negative things about yourself that are making you, like your father or your mother keeps telling you you are stupid, you cannot make it in life. That is what they're feeding your mind constantly. So what they are feeding you constantly makes up who you're becoming. Eventually, you start becoming the things that they are saying, making you to form a feeling of inferiority.
Okay, like what are the symptoms of inferiority complex? How can you see someone and predict that this person suffers from inferiority complex?
One, they have low self-esteem. You can find a person who can't talk in front of people. They're afraid of standing up for themselves. They can't stand up for their needs. They have a low self-esteem. Two, for example, you just give someone a compliment. Instead of taking a compliment the way it is, they
Mhm.
overanalyze the compliment. For example, I can come and tell you, you are looking good. Instead of just taking the compliment that I've told you, you're looking good, you start overanalyzing that compliment. You start asking yourself, why has he only told me that I'm looking good today? Is he really telling me I'm looking good, or is he just making fun of me? You just don't take a compliment the way it is. Yeah, another symptom is, for example, you are in a competitive environment. For example, in a class, you can't just you are afraid of being in an environment where people will where you are afraid of being in an environment where you can voice where you are forced to voice your opinions, because you are afraid of what people will say, or think about you. So you avoid environments where you have to
Fight for your
fight
space.
for your space. Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Mhm.
And okay,
Mhm.
what are the negative effects of inferiority complex?
One of them is that you have low self-esteem. You can't believe in your abilities. You have low self-esteem. You can't stand up for yourself as a person because you feel inadequate, and that can make you not to go far in life. You will remain stagnant in a certain space in life because you can't fight for your needs. You feel inadequate in every situation
Situation.
and every aspect. So even in school, in class, in the workplace, you'll just be comfortable with where you are. You won't strive to achieve for greater things or greater heights. So you're always in a lower position because you can't strive to go to greater heights. Yes, that is one of the negative impact. Another negative impact, it affects your mental health and your emotional health. You'll not be in the right headspace because you're always feeling bad for yourself. You have low self-esteem. You know how a person has you always feel anxious, you
Mhm.
always feel unwanted. It affects your mental health. When you always feel unwanted, it affects how you think about yourself and how you view yourself. And you know how you view yourself is how other people view you. So if you have low self-esteem and you self-look yourself, obviously other people will also look down upon you. So it affects how you view yourself. It also affects your emotional health. You might find yourself getting into depression or anxiety, such mental health or emotional defects. So um, having a feeling of inferiority complex is not healthy for your mental health and your emotional health also.
Like you have come to my point. I used to tell people, if you don't respect yourself, do not expect others
Yes.
to respect you. Like inferiority complex put you in a place where you consider yourself as a victim.
Yes.
Okay, like what is your message to people who face inferiority complex, or to those who are affected by inferiority complex?
For a person who is experiencing an inferiority complex, the best way for you to overcome this, first of all, you have to stop comparing yourself to others.
Mhm.
Because first of all, most people form this like in this generation, most people are forming inferiority complexes, or this feeling of inadequacy, because of comparing themselves to others or people on the internet. You find people living, most of the time people on the internet are living fake lives just to impress other people. So you find someone comparing themselves to others, and this makes them strive to have things that they cannot have. So in the last minute, you'll end up feeling inferior than others. So be content with who you are. Don't compare yourself with other people. Start by not comparing yourself with other people. Accept yourself for who you are. That is the first thing. Another thing, practice gratitude. Always look at the positive things that have happened in your life. Avoid looking at the negative. Look at yourself and see what are the positive things in my life. First of all, you've woken up. That's a one thing you should be thankful for. There are people who have not woken up. Practice gratitude. Write the good things that are happening in your life. When you feel like you're having these feelings of inferiority, take a notebook or something and list down the things that happen, the positive things happening in your life to help counter the negative emotions and the feelings of inadequacy. Another point is remove the unhelpful thinking like magnification or minimization. This is when one focuses magnification and the minimization. This is a negative way of thinking. Is when one focuses on the negative side of things when they minimize the positive
Positive side.
things happening on their life. So they magnify the negative things happening in their life and they minimize the positive. So remove the magnification and the minimization thinking. Focus on the positive things in your life. Remove the negatives and focus on the positive. The magnification and minimization also goes to there is another negative form of thinking. It's called black and white thinking,
Mhm.
where a person only focuses on they look at themselves in the negative perspective and they remove the positive
It
perspective.
is called magnified thinking.
It's called it's magnification or minimization. There's
Mhm.
magnification and minimization, and there's the black and white thinking.
Mhm.
The black and white thinking is when you fully focus on the negative and you remove the positive. But for magnification and minimization, in the magnification and minimization negative way of thinking, is where a person only they magnify the negative and they only look at the positive in a 1% perspective. Yeah. So you eliminate the magnification, minimization, and the black and white thinking to help you form new, better perspectives of thinking. You can also practice assertiveness, which can help you. Assertiveness is like standing in a mirror and telling yourself, I am brave, I am handsome, I am beautiful. Talk to yourself in a positive manner. This will help you. You know what you feed your mind is what you become. So when you constantly feed your mind with positive things, like telling yourself, "I am beautiful, I am handsome, I can do this, I'm able to do this," you constantly form positive. You remove the negative, and you start forming the positive perspective of thinking.
Okay,
Mhm,
like I've liked the way you have explained the magnification thinking.
mhm,
Like when someone emphasizes more on the negative things happening going
mhm,
on in his or her life,
mhm,
and you have talked about the black and white thinking, which is very very important to those who are going to listen to this video. They should do deep research on that.
mhm,
And thank you for coming for this video. I really appreciate it, and
mhm.
I wish to see you in the next video.
Thank you.
Yeah.